The arrogance tax. When combat sports collect what's owed. You want to know what separates champions from clowns? It's not talent, it's not training, it's not even heart, it's respect. Respect for the craft, respect for the opponent, and most importantly, respect for the violence you're about to participate in. Paul Teague didn't get that memo. He strutted into that bare-knuckle ring wearing a clown mask, orange hair wild, treating Joshua Alvarez like some kind of joke. 17 seconds later, that mask might as well have been a bullseye painted on his unconscious face. That is it. Just like that. The commentator's words echoed through a stunned arena as Teague lay motionless. His showboating career ended by one perfectly timed right hand. This wasn't entertainment anymore. This was education. Brutal, unforgiving education. Listen to me carefully. In combat sports, arrogance isn't just foolish, it's expensive. And the ring always collects what's owed. Today, you're going to witness the moments when cockiness wrote checks that skill couldn't cash, when disrespect met devastation, and when fighters learned the hardest lesson in combat. The universe doesn't care about your ego. Let's dive deep. The clown's final performance. The weigh-ins told the whole story. Paul Teague, grinning behind that ridiculous clown mask, playing to the cameras like he was auditioning for a circus act. Joshua Alvarez stood silent, professional, focused. One man was performing, the other was preparing for war. Here's what Teague didn't understand. When you step into that ring, when those lights hit and the crowd goes silent, all the theatrics in the world can't save you from a man who came to work. Alvarez didn't need a mask, he didn't need props. He had something far more dangerous. Respect for what was about to happen. The bell rang. Teague came forward, still in character, still believing his own hype. Crack. One right hand, perfectly placed, perfectly timed. Teague's legs turned to water. His world went dark. The clown mask couldn't protect him from the brutal mathematics of violence. Black and gold trunks for Alvarez. He's not getting up. They're not letting him go. 17 seconds. That's all it took to strip away the facade and reveal the truth. In fighting, respect isn't optional. It's survival. The heavyweight's reckoning. Dillian Whyte had been running his mouth for years. Every interview was another opportunity to remind Anthony Joshua about their amateur fight. You were shy, you got disheartened, you got beat down, you folded over, you were running away. The arrogance was suffocating. The disrespect was palpable. And Joshua sat there, taking it, filing it away like ammunition for what was coming. Your heart will fail you, trust me. Then came the moment that defined everything. I don't want to shake your hand. I don't need to shake your hand. That was the line. That was the moment Whyte crossed from confidence into contempt. And the universe was taking notes. Fight night arrived. The atmosphere was electric, but there's a difference between controlled aggression and reckless emotion. Joshua had channeled his anger into focus. Whyte had let his mouth write checks his fists couldn't cash. The early rounds were competitive. Whyte was landing, moving, making it a fight. But Joshua was patient, calculating, waiting. Then in the 7th round, he found his moment. Boom! A right uppercut that seemed to come from the depths of the earth itself. That's a big shot. He's rocked him early. Whyte's legs betrayed him. The man who had talked so much trash was suddenly fighting for consciousness. Joshua smelled blood. Another uppercut. Clean. Devastating. Final. Just planted him with a huge right uppercut. Whyte crumpled. The referee didn't need to count. The man who couldn't pronounce respect had just been taught its meaning in the most brutal way possible. The slapper's symphony. Jeff Lacy was convinced he was fighting a slapper. That's what he called Joe Calzaghe, a slapper. The arrogance was breathtaking. Here was an undefeated champion dismissing one of the most skilled boxers of his generation as if technique was weakness. Don't get my cockiness confused with my confidence. I'm a very confident fighter. But there's a difference between confidence and delusion. Lacy had convinced himself that power was everything. He was about to learn that boxing isn't just about hitting hard. It's about hitting first, hitting clean, and hitting often. From the opening bell, it was clear 𝐒𝐓 had walked into a nightmare. Those slaps he had mocked were landing with surgical precision. 𝐒𝐒𝐑𝐈𝐍's hands were a blur, finding gaps in 𝐒𝐓's defense that the American didn't even know existed. Great left hand. Joe says he's not been happy about some of your comments. Round after round, the punishment accumulated. 𝐒𝐓's face began to swell. His confidence cracked. The man who had entered the ring as an undefeated champion was being systematically dismantled. By the 12th round, 𝐒𝐓 was a broken man. His legs were gone. His will was shattered. Then 𝐒𝐒𝐑𝐈𝐍𝐊 delivered the final insult. A knockdown, the first of 𝐒𝐓's career. Outstanding! How on earth is 𝐒𝐓 staying up there? The slapper had become the executioner. And 𝐒𝐓 learned that in boxing, technique beats power, skill beats strength, and respect beats arrogance every single time. The peekaboo punishment. Ellen thought he was playing games. During his fight with Andy Souwer, he was literally playing peekaboo, dropping his hands, laughing, treating one of the most dangerous strikers in the world like a sparring partner. Look at that. That's beautiful. Oh, I just don't do that with Souwer. That's stupid. The commentator's words carried a warning that Ellen was too arrogant to hear. Andy Souwer wasn't just any fighter. He was a legend, a man who had built his reputation on precision, timing, and the ability to make opponents pay for their mistakes. Still laughing. Oh my God, still laughing. But Souwer wasn't laughing. He was calculating. Every time Ellen dropped his hands, every moment of showboating, every second of disrespect was being cataloged, measured, prepared for. Then came the moment of reckoning. A flying knee, clean, devastating, final. There you go. You don't drop your hands with Andy Souwer. Ellen's laughter died in his throat. The peekaboo games were over. The man who had treated the fight like a playground had just been taught that some playgrounds have monsters lurking in the shadows. The mask comes off. Brandon Lambert thought he had Jared Grant figured out. At Knucklemania, Lambert spent more time taunting than fighting, more energy on theatrics than technique. He would drop his hands, yell at his opponent, waste precious energy on showboating. Put his hands down. Look at him. Lambert's got to be careful. Just yelling and screaming right there. He's wasting energy. The commentator could see what Lambert couldn't, that every moment spent showboating was a moment not spent fighting. Every second of taunting was a second of vulnerability. Grant was patient, methodical, waiting for his opportunity. Third round. Lambert's energy was fading. His taunts were becoming desperate. Grant stayed focused. Then it happened. Jab from Grant. Setup. Perfect. Right hand. Thunder. Lightning. Devastation. Down goes Brandon Lambert. That is it. The showboat had been sunk. The man who had spent 3 rounds playing games had been finished by a fighter who understood that the only game that matters is the one played with fists, not words. The German's gamble. 𝐒𝐒𝐑𝐈𝐍𝐊 made a fatal error against Olympic gold medalist Odlanier Solis. He thought taunting would intimidate the Cuban champion. Throughout their heavyweight clash, 𝐒𝐒𝐑𝐈𝐍𝐊 raised his hands, called for more punches, acted like the punishment didn't hurt. Say that didn't hurt me. But Solis was a student of violence, a craftsman of destruction. Every taunt from 𝐒𝐒𝐑𝐈𝐍𝐊 was met with increased precision, increased power, increased intent. The Cuban wasn't just fighting anymore. He was teaching a lesson. The punishment began to take a toll on 𝐒𝐒𝐑𝐈𝐍𝐊, but he continued with his antics. Round after round, the beating continued. 𝐒𝐒𝐑𝐈𝐍𝐿's bravado began to crack. His taunts became less frequent. His hands dropped lower. And Solis, like a predator sensing weakness, prepared for the kill. 7th round. The moment arrived. A right hand that carried the weight of every insult, every taunt, every moment of disrespect. Crack. What a massive shot. It's all over. 𝐒𝐒𝐑𝐈𝐍𝐿's gamble had failed. The man who had tried to intimidate through theatrics had been destroyed by a fighter who let his fists do the talking. The internet celebrity's reality check. When internet celebrities Tristan Ham and Ronnie Peterson Jr. stepped into the ring for their professional debuts, Peterson thought his online persona would translate to boxing success. He came out aggressive, confident, believing his own hype. Can he do this the whole fight? I don't think so. Peterson's early success went to his head. He became overconfident, reckless, believing he could coast on natural ability and internet fame. But boxing doesn't care about your follower count. It doesn't respect your brand. It only respects preparation, skill, and the willingness to endure punishment. Ham stayed patient, professional. And when Peterson's guard dropped, when his attention wandered, when his respect for the sport wavered, Ham struck. Right hand, clean, final. Not Logan Paul is not going to be standing up. The internet celebrity had been introduced to reality. The man who had built his reputation on entertainment had been finished by someone who understood that in boxing, the only entertainment that matters is the kind that ends with your opponent on the canvas. Here's what every one of these fighters learned the hard way. The ring is the ultimate truth teller. It doesn't matter how much you talk, how much you taunt, or how much disrespect you show. When that bell rings, only one thing matters. Who prepared better? Who respects the sport more? And who understands that true confidence comes from skill, not showmanship. The universe has a way of collecting what's owed, and in combat sports, arrogance always comes with interest. Which of these brutal reality checks hit the hardest? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe for more moments when ego meets consequence in the unforgiving world of combat sports.